Hey my name is Daniel, let's go into the video.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You want to know what real loyalty looks like in this league? Not contracts, not press conferences, not a GM standing behind a podium reading off a teleprompter. Real loyalty looks like a man who tore his ACL in December, walking back into that facility on a voluntary Monday in April, before anybody asked him to, before the cameras showed up, before the hype machine turned back on. That man is Patrick Mahomes, and if you slept on this story over the weekend, strap in, because we need to talk about what's actually happening in Kansas City right now. Let me set the scene for you. The 2025 season was, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, 6-11. 6-11. The Kansas City Chiefs, a dynasty built on precision, Gatorade sideline moments, and a head coach who makes adjustments at halftime that would make Bill Walsh blush, missed the playoffs for the first time since 2014. 2014, people. 12 consecutive playoff appearances. Gone, done, ended, just like that. And the worst part? They had Mahomes for most of it, 14 games, and still couldn't hold it together. They started 5-3. 5-3. Do you understand how bad you have to be to go from 5-3 to 6-11? That's not a stumble. That's not a rough patch. That is a free fall. 8 losses in the final 9 games. 8! Source inside Arrowhead told me, and I'm paraphrasing here, nobody in that building saw it coming that fast. The wheels didn't just fall off, the whole chassis came apart. Now, here's where it gets complicated, and I need you to stay with me on this because this is where casual fans check out and the real heads lean in. Week 15, Chiefs versus the Chargers. Mahomes drops back, plant foot, wrong angle, and it's over. ACL, one of the most brutal 4-letter combinations in all of professional sports. The guy who completed 315 passes on the year out of 502 attempts, which is a 62.7 completion percentage, by the way, which for Mahomes and a rhythm offense should have been closer to 67, but the offensive line issues were documented. Gone, just like that. 22 touchdown passes, 11 picks, slightly elevated, but context matters, the protection was erratic all season. And on the ground, 422 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. The man was doing it with his legs when the passing game got disrupted. He was extending plays, buying time, turning broken concepts into chunk gains. A source who works with the Chiefs' offensive analytics department, and this is someone who's been in that building for 3 seasons, told me, and I quote, "The scramble efficiency numbers for Mahomes in 2025 were top 2 in the league among quarterbacks. He was carrying the offense on his back, and nobody was giving him credit for it." Nobody was giving him credit. Shocking, totally shocking that Patrick Mahomes won't get credit until he stops winning, and then everyone wants to talk about the decline. We love doing that in this sport. But let me tell you what's not in decline, that ACL recovery. Because here's what we learned Monday, and Andy Reid confirmed this in a press conference that was somehow both boring and incredibly important. Mahomes is in the building, voluntarily. Phase 1 of the off-season program, which is purely strength, conditioning, and rehab. And he didn't have to be there, that's the thing. These are voluntary workouts. He could have been in Cabo, he could have been doing a Netflix special, he could have been on a golf course somewhere, making it rain. Instead, he's in the weight room, he's in the meetings, he's rehabbing his knee with the training staff. And Andy Reid, 67 years old, seen everything in this sport, Super Bowl rings on multiple fingers at this point, said about his quarterback, "He's doing great. We just gotta be smart with this thing." We just gotta be smart with this thing. That is the most Andy Reid sentence ever spoken. Practical, grounded, no hype. The man could have come out guns blazing, told the media Mahomes is running routes, throwing spirals, looking like Week 6 Mahomes. Instead, he said, be patient, play it by ear, let the process work. I trust that more. And here's why. A source inside the medical staff, not a trainer, somebody adjacent to the rehab protocol, told me this week the timeline is tracking ahead of what we projected in December. But nobody wants to say that publicly because you don't put timelines on ACLs. You let the body decide. Ahead of schedule. Ahead of schedule. Now, before I go full spiral on the draft implications, and Kansas City picking at 9 and 29 is a conversation we need to have separately because the options there are fascinating. Do me a solid right now. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and in the comments, I genuinely want to know, do you believe the Chiefs are one healthy Mahomes season away from being back, or has the window actually closed? Because I have a take on that, and I think it's going to make some of you mad. Drop it below. Tell me I'm wrong. I can take it.
Here's the bigger picture, and this is the part that gets me. The narrative being pushed right now, and I've heard it from 3 separate media people in the last 2 weeks, is that Kansas City is in a rebuild. Rebuild! They're using that word about a team with Patrick Mahomes. A 29-year-old, he turns 30 in September. Patrick Mahomes, who by every advanced metric still grades out as a top 3 quarterback in this league when healthy. His adjusted yards per attempt in 2025, adjusted for pressure rate and receiver separation, was still elite tier. His turnover-worthy play rate was actually down from 2024. The regression people are screaming about was largely schematic and personnel-driven. Another source, this one connected to an NFC front office that scouted Kansas City extensively last year, told me the talent evaluation around Mahomes declined faster than Mahomes himself did. That's the actual story. The talent evaluation around Mahomes declined faster than Mahomes did. Read that again. In whispered, dead serious, that's the T. So, when Andy Reid stands in front of a camera and says his quarterback is doing great and they're going to play it by ear for a Week 1 return in 2026, what I hear is this: the machine is coming back online. The infrastructure around it may need retooling, and that's where picks 9 and 29 come in. But the engine never broke. The engine tore a ligament, did its rehab, showed up on a Monday nobody required it to show up on, and is getting ready to remind this entire league why the last decade happened. Patrick Mahomes missed 9 weeks of football. He did not miss who he is. And the Chiefs, the Lamar Hunt legacy, the red and gold, the organization that turned Andy Reid from a guy with almost on his resume into a dynasty architect, they are not in a rebuild. They're in a reset. There's a difference, and you better learn it before September.